Welcome to Let's Talk 716 Sports. I'm your host, Robbie, and I have Dave, and Corey.
Hi guys, how you doing, Robbie?
What's going on, boys?
We'll have a heyday, Dave, trying to make sure we get our names not too mixed up. So
That's right. Call me DC if you need to. No,
that's fair. Yeah, we'll do that. That's fair.
All right, DC.
Hopefully, Washington changes their front name to that. I love that name.
Was Diggs worth a first?
Diggs? I'll honestly say, yeah, he was. You see the guys that were drafted in the top 3 rounds, and honestly, the only one that the Bills really had a shot at was, I believe it was
Jefferson.
Jefferson. So honestly, it's either do you want Jefferson or Diggs? I mean, in my opinion, the only for sure wide receiver that was in that draft is probably Lamb. I think Lamb was like a shoe-in starter right away. Wide receivers usually take like 2 to 3 years to like really come into their own. So in my opinion, it was worth the first because we're ready to win right now. And we can't afford to wait on a guy who we think's going to be our guy. Like Bean went out, he got his guy who's ready to play year one right now. So I feel like it was it was worth it in my opinion.
Yeah, and when you're talking about trade up capital even or draft capital to move up in the draft, you're talking about the Bills only giving up a 5th, a 6th, and a 4th for this past for getting Diggs. And when you give that up, you're only giving up the trade for Russell Bodine and Wyatt Teller. Russell Bodine is still one of the worst centers in the league. He's always been one of the worst centers in the league.
The worst.
Wyatt Teller has just been okay at guard. He's just been somewhat mediocre. So I'm not too upset about either of them leaving. We got great trade capital. If you're telling me for a trade, we got a first rounder. We had to give up. We only had to give up a first rounder, a 5th, a 6th, which is Russell Bodine and Wyatt Teller, and a 4th for next year. I mean, you can't lose. And the $12 million cap hit is a great cap hit for the Bills. Mitch Morse is actually getting paid more than him. I mean, and Stephon Diggs, I would say, is more of the elite player than Mitch Morse is. Mitch Morse is middle of the pack right now, comparatively in the center league. So, I mean, I would say it was 100% worth in my eyes.
Compared to the other elite wideouts, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's making average money for elite wideouts. Like he's middle of the pack, like for like his like what he's earning for year one, right? Like he's a cheap contract right now, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I would say, oh, absolutely, guys. It was totally worth it because we're ready to win right now. So
I want to say he has at least 3, if not 4 years left on his deal. Like, it's not one of those trade deals where, okay, this guy's not showing up to camp unless he gets a new contract. He's going to be here at least for a year or two before that conversation probably even begins. And to your point, Corey, I love what it says about what this team is thinking, and that is win now. We got the roster to do it.
Future.
Yep, the defense to do it. And it always comes down to this, the quarterback. No more excuses for Allen. This is it. He's got his top. Yep, he's got his top wideout that he needs. That bumps John Brown down a slot. That pushes Beasley down a little. I mean, that's arguably the top. For top 3 receivers in the league, it's in the conversation for best wide receiver core, at least in the AFC, if not the league. So like I said, Allen is no more excuses. Hopefully Knox can take another step with him at the tight end position, and I think the running game is going to be great. Like, it's a win now move, and Stephon Diggs was your first round pick. I'll take that 100 times out of 100.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Me too.
What do you think, Robbie? Was it worth it?
I would say it was worth a first round pick to get Diggs because I watched him when he was with Minnesota, and
Mm.
and he was pretty good.
The old eye test. The old eye test. When it comes to football, I feel like people are just too nitpicky. Like, all you really need to do is just watch a guy week in, week out, and it's not hard to tell, like, who's an elite talent and who's not an elite talent. Like, I'm not even talking numbers wise. Like the old eyeball test. Like, if you know football, then you should know who an elite player is. So I would say it was absolutely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually my second favorite team is the Chicago Bears, so I have the ticket and I watch all the Bears and Bills games. And needless to say, I've seen Diggs in that division for the last, however many years he's been there, and he's a special talent. I'd say he's a top 5 overall and probably a top 3, if not 2, route runner. He's just phenomenal coming out of the breaks. And any ball in his area, which Josh can be a little erratic with his throws, this guy goes up and gets. Like, he's the real deal. And, hopefully we can put it all together, and hopefully we have football and we get to see just how much the first round pick was worth it. So
yeah, I'm really trying to act positive about that too.
Yeah.
Like, me and my friend Dave have had so many passionate talks about this. Like, something's telling me that we might not have a season, and I'm really an optimist too, and it just feels weird to me. Like, there's a chance it might not happen.
Well, I don't know. I know Robbie and I for sure are big Sabre and hockey fans as well. Today they were reporting to camp, and you got the Penguins shutting down 9 guys, before their camp even starts, just to be cautious. And, Austin Matthews, it's going around. Now, all that to say, the fact that elite athletes are getting this a week, 2 weeks, even 3 weeks for hockey before they actually need to start playing, maybe it's not a terrible thing, as opposed to them getting it, while they're knee deep, and continuing to play. But everyone says get them to the bubble, the quote unquote bubbles, the NBA down in Orlando and Edmonton and Toronto for NHL. And then we'll see, try to get them healthy once they get to the bubble. Because once they think they get inside the bubble, and if everyone's healthy and they can keep up with the testing, we'll see. The NFL has none of that. They have no bubble. They're playing in stadiums. Some will have fans, some won't have any fans, depending on the region. But no, Corey, I think you're being a realist, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm only being a realist because I don't want to be absolutely heartbroken if there's no football this
That's
season.
that's me too. That's me too. I'm trying to prepare myself mentally for the worst case news because I'm from Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm born to think that way. So
Right. I said when the leaves start changing colors and falling off the trees, it's just football season, man.
You just smell it in the air, man.
Yeah,
Cook
exactly.
out, like it's a brisk, cold fall, like autumn morning. Like, oh,
Yep.
dude,
Nothing like it.
I'm addicted to it, man.
Nothing like it.
I know. When do we have next here?
Dave, any other comments about Diggs, or you want to move on?
No, no, I'm good. I think I said my piece on him, man.
Okay.
I'm just excited to have him on the team finally. I think that, a lot of people forget about how good, Cole Beasley's going to be too, though. Sometimes, everyone talks about John Brown and stuff on him, man. I'm so excited to see Beasley again because he's just always been that security blanket for Josh on third downs, and I'm excited to see him continue as well.
He just
I actually have a note. I'm actually excited for Kroom. If you remember year 1 at Josh Allen, Kroom and him, they had a vibe too. And then Kroom's injury and stuff, but like I feel like Jason Kroom and Dawson Knox can be a good like duo for us to attack. I mean, I'm really excited to see Kroom like he's finally healthy now too. Also, I'm on cloud 9. Like I think if we have a season, boys, I'm thinking like 12 plus wins. Seriously.
All right,
This
well,
is-
hold that thought. We'll get to that in a little bit. But speaking of overall offense, that leads us to our next question, right, Robbie?
How good can this offense be?
That's a pretty good question. It's a pretty loaded question. What about you, Dave? I'm gonna let you answer first on this one.
Well, I think a lot of it has to depend, obviously, on Josh Allen. Everything is going to obviously revolve around the quarterback, as we say. He had 14 fumbles last year, guys. He needs to definitely work on his fumbles. It's one thing. I've been one of his homers. I've been one of his biggest supporters, but one of his biggest downfalls easily is his fumbles and the way he's kind of reckless with the ball sometimes while running with the ball. I think that he has improved on a lot of areas, obviously, over his 1 year of being a starter and stuff. Year 3, he's looking even better. Obviously, you're seeing just shorts and t-shirts throwing in the sun right now in beautiful Florida weather. You're not seeing it in, negative degree Buffalo cold, but you see him and he looks a lot better. You see him looking a little more crisp, a little better. Everyone's saying about the 3 pounds he added on of muscle. So it's going to be a good offense, I think, but it revolves around Josh being more careful with the football. He needs to take control of that offense and be more willing to just go down and slide maybe and not be willing to take the hit. I think his touchdown to interception ratio got a little bit undervalued, actually, considering how good it was, especially from weeks 5 to 16. Everyone knows, I think, about how good he was after that Patriots game. So I'm excited to see what the offense can do. I think realistically, you're looking at top half of the league, maybe top 15
Definitely.
offense.
Definitely.
I don't want to give too much credit yet until I see it because, it could just be another, smoking gun with Josh Allen and seeing what happens and stuff like that. It could just be another just decent season. Who knows what's going to happen. I hope that everything goes okay, especially with Diggs saying he's uncomfortable with maybe playing right now and stuff like that in the COVID era. So we'll see what happens with that as well. But I think with Diggs, I think that we are looking at least top half, maybe top 10, but I wouldn't put us in the top 5 yet or anything like that. I think we're going to be probably rushing attack, probably top 5, but like our overall offense probably going to be around top 15 or so.
Yeah, I agree with you too, and I think a point people aren't bringing up enough is the O-line chemistry. The O-line chemistry. Now, if you remember old Bills teams, like we never keep 5 O-line like guys as a unit. Like it's usually switched in and out. Like we've had the same group of guys for the last 3 years at O-line, and all they've done is gel together, honestly, and that's honestly like underrated too, because like
well, Cody
we're
Ford
gonna
needs
keep-
to improve.
yeah, they're like you're basically keeping Josh Allen upright all season. Like he's gonna be able to like go into all of his reads and stuff and hit guys open and not have to run all over the place. And also the running game with Zach Moss and Singletary, like that O-line, man, I'm serious. Like that O-line is literally going to work wonders.
Yeah,
for
they're
the
top 10.
offense.
They're top 10 top 10 pass offensive line for sure. But I think in the run game, it's been a little bit weak, especially with Mitch Morse. Man, I understand he's like decent and stuff, but he's also getting paid $14 million, and he was ranked middle of the pack last year. I think he needs to bump it up a little bit.
overpaid.
Cody Ford, no offense to him, I think for a rookie, he played very underwhelming, unfortunately, for a second-round pick. But obviously, everyone knows how long it takes for offensive tackles to usually get accustomed to the league. Ty Nsekhe, I think, is going to be a hell of a starter, I think, for him. I think Ty Nsekhe should be the starter ahead of him.
Spawn.
And Quentin Spain's been the most consistent player for him so far.
Dawkins improved too. Like he was struggling in the first few weeks, and he came together too. So I mean, the longer these guys play together, I think week 1 to the end of the season this year, I think it'll probably move slower at first because there's new parts. But dude, there's just too much talent right now on offense for them to not evolve into this powerhouse. I think seriously. So I don't know.
Robbie, how good could the Bills' offense be?
I think they'd be pretty good this year. Like, as long as Allen doesn't like do his thing where he fumbles and stuff, and tries to get wild with the ball and stuff like that.
The hero
Yeah,
ball.
I think they refer to that as hero ball, right?
Yeah.
As long as he
ball,
doesn't play
exactly, I love that saying.
Yeah, right. Which,
Hero ball.
you know, the playoff game against Houston was a microcosm of basically Josh. You know, like one
Oh my
great
God.
first half. You know, we're up. I think was it 16, and you know the second half just he tried to play a little too much hero ball, and you know the lateral that was just beyond. I don't know what he was thinking on that play, but you know,
Uh,
yeah,
That makes
exactly.
me think, honestly, do you think Josh and Dawson talked about that? Like, do you think, like, in practice, like, yo, if I'm ever held up and you're right behind me, like, expect a lateral because
never
he
again.
acted,
Never again, Josh. Never.
he acted like Dawson knew it was coming. Like, it's,
Yeah,
Dawson,
right,
he's just like, what the hell are you doing? Like,
right.
that was terrible. That was awful.
I think
That was
it's
tough, man.
you know an ultra competitive guy, outstanding athlete, just trying to make a play in a
Just
huge
trying to
game.
make a
You
play,
know,
man.
yeah, you know,
He's a goddamn gamer, dude.
Yep.
He's a straight baller, man. And
yeah, he
you know
is.
what? It was a young mistake. He probably learned a lot in his playoff loss, I think, and you know, it like that loss is going to do nothing but add fuel to their fire. Honestly,
Yeah,
like that loss is still with them, and I bet that they're gonna bring that loss right into the next season, man, and use it as motivation. Honestly,
well, and I think Corey, you mentioned, or maybe it was you, Dave, earlier, but you know, this is not your typical off season. So having any new parts, and we have you know a couple, but teams that have you know a new quarterback or a new head coach or new
they're screwed.
OC, you know
Yeah,
they're gonna be going into this thing in 2 or 3 weeks with literally not having been together as a cohesive unit. So I think in that regard, the Bills have a step up on quite a few teams. But like we've been saying, it's going to come down to Allen. Can he take that? You know, he took a pretty big step or two from year 1 to year 2. Year 2 to year 3 is usually when you really start to see, okay, is this guy gonna, you know, is he gonna be elite? Is he gonna be someone who, you know, a team can hang their hat on for the next 10, 12 years? We'll find out, hopefully.
Hopefully he's not Mitch Trubisky, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Killing me.
You're a Bears fan. Yeah, you're a Bears fan.
Just
You know
kidding. I was
about
just
that.
kidding.
Would you rather have Rex Grossman or would you rather have Mitch?
I'm just kidding. I was
Oh
just kidding.
boy. Oh boy.
Sexy Bexy.
That's right. Hey, took him to the Super Bowl, you know.
He did.
He did.
Brian Urlacher did too.
Yeah, yes. Oh, yes.
I love Urlacher. I love Urlacher.
I love Urlacher, dude. Oh, I love that man.
Well, I mean, that defense was stacked also. I mean,
Oh, goodness gracious, they were.
Devin Hester in his prime. And
Hester in his prime, dude. Mwah, mwah.
great. Yep.
He was awesome.
So moving on quickly because we don't have a ton of time, but staying within the division, Rob, you got a question there about our most hated rival, the Patriots?
With Cam now in New England, should the Bills still be the favorites to win the division?
I'll let you answer this one.
Can I start on that one quick? Let me start on that one quick.
All right, you answer that one. My bad.
Dave mentioned in his last answer. If this offense is anywhere near with the Bills, a top 10 offense with the defense that we have, boys, book your Super Bowl tickets now because that is just going to be a team that is.
I've already booked mine already, bro.
Yeah. Miami, here we come because if we have a top 10 off, I don't remember. I want to say we were low 20s overall.
Yeah.
You know, so we got a long ways to go. But to your point, if we're even an average to a slightly above average offense, I think this team is just going to be loaded. But real quick, I'll say Cam going to New England. Should we still be the favorites? I honestly don't know, to be honest. They have also a really good defense. They lost a couple of key players. They still obviously have the GOAT and Belichick there, who you know wants to win now that Brady is not there, more than he's probably ever wanted to win before. So
Yeah, that worries
he has
me a lot.
to prove.
Yeah, that worries me.
The question is, will Cam be healthy? Will he be healthy long enough to make a difference in the season? Those questions are going to have to be answered week to week. But right now, I'd say it's a toss up. If Cam can stay healthy in New England and the Bills can do what they're going to do, granted against a much tougher schedule than they had last year, I could see both teams being in the 10 to 12 win range. So those New England games are just going to be all out war, and I can't wait. I literally get
dude, it's about to be so emotional in those games, man.
Yeah. So,
great.
What do you think, Dave?
I think when you see someone like Cam, you see a lot of talent, and he's obviously better than Jarrett Stidham, so there's going to be an extra at least 2 or 3 wins minimum.
Yep.
You can't expect him to not have a few extra wins in Jarrett Stidham. That would just be obnoxious. That'd be absurd. It'd be ignorant to even think like that. But do I think that the Bills are still the favorite? Yes, because Cam Newton is also proven that the past few years he hasn't been the same guy. He had his MVP year in 2018. He was okay, but last year he struggled and he had a lot of trouble and he did not do well when he was playing. Kyle Allen, was taking his place and he was more than fine doing it. So I think seeing someone like Cam on the Patriots under Bill Belichick is going to be a more strict player. I don't know how much he's going to be running. I don't know what type of offense they're going to use around him with Josh McDaniels. I know they usually just like to do the usual dump and dunk and chase and, all that easy stuff. So I don't know exactly what they plan on doing with him, specifically for an offense around him when they don't usually use that type of player. So I'm kind of intrigued to see what Bill Belichick has in plan and what Josh McDaniels has in store for him as well. I think that the Bills are still the favorite, though. I don't see them having a chance to lose just yet. I think that the defense is going to be better and stuff with, Epinesa, and they have one of the most expensive defensive lines for a reason, and they're good at it now too. They load it up. So
Vernon Butler and
Quentin Jefferson,
Mario
Addison.
They got healthy Harrison Phillips this year too, and Ed Oliver.
I'll say this hot take right here: that Week 15 game though is going to be for the division. I feel. I really.
Oh,
do.
Absolutely. Oh, it's not a hot take. It's a scalding, scorching take. Because, I pray to God that happens. Oh boy.
Yeah.
The hot ticket.
Yeah, but I'll say Week 15 would probably be up for the division, probably, but I'll give it to the Bills though.
I feel like we're the heavy favorites if it's Stidham starting. But now, okay, Cam Newton, guys. Cam Newton, healthy Cam Newton. Now, I know he hasn't been completely healthy in a while, but something tells me that the Patriots know something that everybody else doesn't, because that's usually how it goes. Now, what if they have a plan for him and they know he's healthy? Like, that kind of worries me a little bit. It kind of worries me that, the Pats, they got their great defense still, guys. And I don't know. It's just like a healthy Cam has proven, like, he's pretty serious out there. And I'm not afraid if he's not healthy. If he's not all the way healthy, then yes, I feel like we're a favorite for the whole thing in the division, but I don't want to write off them yet. Until we actually see game film with Cam and with these pieces on the Bills, I'm gonna have to say right now, I don't know. It's a toss up right now. I'm very on the I don't have an answer yet. I have to see practices and I have to see them completely on the field. I'm just afraid of Cam, guys. I feel like they know something we don't. I don't know.
Well, and to your point, he's a former MVP of the league.
Yeah.
Like, he's that caliber.
For a reason.
Stidham is an unknown. Could he be great? Of course he could be. Almost very unlikely he's the next Tom Brady. He might be a competent quarterback, but I fully expected the Bills to beat him twice with Jarrett Stidham as their quarterback. Now with Cam Newton, a former MVP and Super Bowl quarterback,
probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yep. Hopefully, right? Hopefully, we couldn't even do that last year with this D. So
yeah.
Probably what do you think?
Wide receivers there too. They're wide.
Who are we as Bills fans nowadays? Like, God, like, guys, but times have changed. Like, we're actually having an actual serious conversation about us sweeping New England.
Right.
Like if we were talking 5 years ago, I would laugh. I would just laugh at you. Like no way.
So much of that was Brady, obviously, and just,
I know it's so different now.
The mini parade now that he's gone, but we're gonna have to earn it. We're gonna have to earn it. We know Belichick is always a great coach team, I should say. They're not going down without a fight, and I wouldn't want it any other way, to be honest with you. If we're gonna overtake the division, let's beat them while they're still good, if not great. Let's beat them. Yeah.
Let's just beat them.
Right. Robbie, what do you think? Cam in New England are they the new favorites, or should the Bills still be the favorites to win it?
I think the Bills would still be favored to win, but I think the games against the Patriots, I think they'd split them.
Split them? Yeah, me too, Robbie.
Yeah, that was kind of our final topic is record predictions for the Bills, and I may have had a head start with I don't know if you guys do this as well, but my buddies and I every year the season the schedule comes out, we'll go game by game and what do we predict the Bills record will be. And that night back in April, I think I had them going 11-5. And I was the worst of the bunch of my 6 buddies. One of them had them going 14-2, and I think a couple 13-3.
14-2?
Yeah.
Oh God! Please.
But that being said, with my 11-5, I had them at the time sweeping New England. I'm going to drop that down a game, and I'll say
10-6.
Comfortable in the playoffs. What maybe division winner? We'll see. Hopefully, again, that Week 15 game is, maybe for it all. That would be outstanding. But I'll say 10-6. And to Corey's point, until we see practices and how everything's fitting together, O-line, run offense, passing offense. I feel comfortable. I think they would have been an 11-5 team last year had they needed that last Jets game. I think we beat them in Buffalo if we needed it.
Absolutely.
We didn't, so we ended up 10-6. But again, this schedule is going to be tough. There's no two ways about it. It's going to be harder than last year, at least on paper. So I'll say 10-6 next year for the Bills. Dave, what do you think?
All right. Since I know we don't got much time left. I know we only got a few minutes here, so I'll be quick with it. I'll say probably around 12-4. I'm going to say I think that I've realized a lot of the games I've been analyzing with him. We have an episodes on our podcast as well, so we kind of do that as well. I have them at a pretty good record overall. I think that there's always that one game where the Bills should win and they don't win, trap game, and they always get blown out a game for some reason too. So I expect those extra 2 games to also come in. So maybe 11-5, but I also think that this team is pretty solid. So I'll just say 11-5, and I'll keep it short for everyone else. So
sure. Corey?
I think on the last 2 ones that I posted on our channel here at Dave, I think I had them at 12-4. Now that's with Cam Newton too, 12-4.
Okay.
This is a hard schedule, yes, but I think that we've upgraded our team. They're better than they were last year. So yes, it's a harder schedule, but I think that the Bills will sneak a game on the 49ers. I think that it'll be either the 49ers or the Chiefs as big prove-it games. And then to the point of Dave, I think that they'll probably lose a trap game or like 2 of those maybe, but
Cleveland Browns type games. Yeah.
I still can't see them losing more than 4 games. Like they're riding so much momentum right now into this season. Like they're all motivated. They all have a chip on their shoulder. Like I can see sweeps on the Jets and the Dolphins pretty easily, like a slip on the Pats, and then then they played the Chiefs and the 49ers, the Seahawks and stuff, and the Cardinals. And I think they're better than the Cardinals and Seahawks too. And I think that they might split either the Chiefs or the Niners, honestly. And then after that, it's really not crazy hard after that. So
tough game at the Titans we have. maybe around
The
week 5 or
Titans.
6 again.
Yeah, week 5.
Tough game.
Yep.
But we
Pittsburgh
always
at
beat
home.
them.
Whoop.
Oh, shit.
Tough game at home against Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh bounces back and Ben is healthy, they're always a well-coached team as well. But I think I like Buffalo in that game only because it's
Same
home.
here.
But if there's no
Yes.
home field advantage and no fans, like, how big of an impact is that going to have? So
That's a good point. I actually heard that they might be like cranking sound right into the stadiums for
Yeah.
the stadiums that don't have sound. It's gonna still feel like as loud as a home game is. So, I mean, I don't know how it feels as a player on the field, but
yeah, right.
As a viewer.
Yeah,
it's weird. I don't know. It's kind of weird in my opinion.
it
I
is.
don't know. It's a
Okay,
weird
final
time.
word to you, Robbie. What do you think the Bills' record's going to be?
I think they'll be like 10-6.
Modest. It's very modest.
With,
Win the division or no, Robbie? At 10-6.
I think they might be like maybe like second or third in the division.
Well, okay, if they're third at 10-6, we're gonna have a heck of a division. It could happen. The Jets have bulked up, and Miami's no pushover anymore. But yeah, I mean, I easily could see New England going 10-6 or 11-5 and eking out first place, and us being in second place at 10-6. I could, until it doesn't
I just want to
happen.
make the playoffs, honestly.
Yeah.
With that third playoff spot though, now in the wild card, we're pretty much
Yeah.
guaranteed to make. We're pretty much gonna
Oh,
make
yeah.
it every year for the next probably 7.
Oh
8 years.
yeah. Don't they have a slot open now? Like a slot open for the playoffs now for the NFC and the AFC. So there's more teams in the playoffs now or
Yep,
something.
7th team was added to each conference. Yeah.
So you got to really be a pretty shitty team not to make the playoffs now.
Well, in Buffalo, we know all about those kind of teams. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, we're nowhere near that kind of record this year. So, all right, Robbie. Anything else, buddy? Before we sign off.
No. Thanks for watching the Let's Talk 716 Sports. And,
Awesome.
and
No problem, man. It was fun, man.
Yep.
It was very fun talking to you guys.
Yeah, a lot of fun, guys.